Also, somebody who lost his life at the age of 90, certainly an icon when it comes to the big screen, the best James Bond. I think it's pretty fair for me to say that. Of course, I'm talking about the death of Sean Connery. We know that he was extremely old, and his health was deteriorating. He had dementia, according to his wife, and passed away over the weekend at the age of 90. Folks, make no mistake about it. Sean Connery is an icon, right? Was an icon. Fantastic actor. So many great films. Nobody can take that away from him. But I'll tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I had a chance to meet Sean Connery briefly, and it was, I think it was called Cinevegas. This was many years ago. They had all these movie premieres here. This had to be at least 10 years ago, maybe longer.
Was it a music or a movie festival in Vegas?
Yeah.
Who started that? Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper started I had a chance to meet the late Dennis Hopper as well. So they had all these different movie premieres. Nobody knew that Sean Connery was showing up. Like literally nobody, not even the PR people for Cinevegas. So the way they did it is, all these movies, they had all these red carpets, and I met some really, really famous people. It was a really fun week. I wish they still did that here. And all of a sudden, I don't even remember the movie it was, but Sean Connery shows up. He shows up by himself. Nobody knew he was here. And he actually did walk by the red carpet. But here's the crazy thing. It was one of these. There was only like 3 members of the media there, and nobody recognized him. And I said, holy F, that's Sean Connery. I went up to him. I said, Mr. Connery, would it be okay, sir, if I just asked you a few questions? He looks at me like, who are you, kind of. I get that look from women all the time. And he says to me, what do you want? That's what he says to me.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, he's very rude.
Really?
Now,
was it what do you want?
Well, I'm giving you the quick story here. So I only had like 2 questions. I could tell he's already very irritable and cranky old man. So I said to him, Mr. Connery, what do you think about Las Vegas? I wish I still had this audio. What do you think about Las Vegas, Mr. Connery? He goes, just like uses the Trump word, Vegas is a total S-hole. That's what he says. And I didn't even know what to say. He says, it's a total S-hole. Like that's what he says.
It's a total.
Yeah. So he says that, and of course I'm in shock. This was over 10 years ago, and I'm still pretty young in the business, and I didn't know what a follow-up question would be to that. I'm like, what do I ask this guy? He hates Vegas. So my next question probably bothered him. My next question is, then what are you doing here? I think that's a very fair question, right? If this is such an S-hole and you hate Vegas, Mr. Connery, what are you doing here? That's what I asked him. His response, none of your effing business. That's what he says to me. He swears at me. And I'm thinking to myself, what? And then he walks away. He didn't want anything else to do with me.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. That happened to me. Maybe it was 12 years ago. I don't remember the year of Cinevegas, but I think it was
2000.
It was 2008, 2007. Maybe it was somewhere around there. I don't remember, but it was somewhere around that time. I said to myself, what an awful human being. Like, even if I caught Sean Connery on a really bad day, why would you treat me like that? I didn't ask you anything bad. You're in Vegas. You're at Cinevegas. I get it. Maybe you don't want to talk to the media. Then don't answer any of my questions. He hates Vegas. I say, why? And he goes, none of your effing business. And by the way, Sean Connery, everyone is saying what a wonderful man he is. I have a little audio to prove to you he wasn't such a wonderful man. In fact, he was a miserable person.
Hold on. Are we really going to just rag on Sean Connery today?
I have some audio to play for you. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Because he was mean to you for 1 minute of his life.
Well, why don't you wait until I play this audio? Because it's not just about me.
I don't want to wait.
It's about women. Well, I want you to listen to this audio, and then maybe you could tell me if we should call him a very nice man. This was Sean Connery back in 1987, an interview with Barbara Walters saying it's okay to physically assault women. Have a listen to this.
I know Sean Connery regrets this conversation.
Okay, you did an interview in which you said, not the worst thing to slap a woman now and then. As I remember, you said you don't do it with a clenched fist, it's better to do it with an open hand. Yeah, remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I didn't love that.
I haven't changed my opinion.
You haven't?
No, not at all.
You think it's good to slap a woman?
No, I don't think it's good.
You don't think it's bad?
I don't think it's that bad. I think that it depends entirely on the circumstances and if it merits it. Yeah.
What would merit it?
Well, if you have tried everything else, and women are pretty good at this, they can't leave it alone. They don't want to have the last word, and you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. they want to say it again and get into a really provocative situation, then I think it's absolutely right.
I'm laughing because it's what a scumbag. So listen, folks, according to the late Sean Connery, if you're getting into an argument or an annoying discussion and your wife or girlfriend or sister, whoever, if they're annoying you and they're badgering you verbally, it's okay to slap them in the face.
That's exactly right.
I'm sorry, JD, but I'm not going to say anything positive about Sean Connery, the human being. Was he a great actor? Absolutely. Scumbag. Good riddance as far as I'm concerned.
Hold on, Brian.
Good riddance.
Good riddance?
Yeah, goodbye. Anybody who thinks it's okay to smack a woman.
All you talk about is empathy this, decency this. And then you're saying good riddance to Sean Connery.
I don't have empathy for people that
2 days after he died.
Okay, so let me respond to that.
By the way,
or not.
Empathy, decency. Did you know Joe Biden?
We're not talking about Joe Biden right now. We're talking about Sean Connery.
Oh, okay.
Can we talk about Sean Connery? Let me respond to what you just said, okay? I choose
selective empathy and decency.
Okay, if I can respond. I choose to have empathy and feel sorry for people that don't think it's okay to physically assault women. I choose to have empathy for people that don't think because a woman annoys you that you can smack them in the face and physically assault them.
You rue the day you crossed me, Trump.
Yeah. Little Sean Connery there for you. There is a difference between not wishing death about someone, but not feeling sorry for someone when they die. Do I feel sorry for Sean Connery? First of all, he lived to 90. That's number one. And number two, he lived his life like that. Not just because he was a womanizer, whatever. The cheating, whatever. This man condoned assaulting women. And then years later, he backtracked his statement because he knew that he was losing fans by saying that. Not because he thought he was wrong. He doubled down on it with Barbara Walters. So let me be very clear. I am someone of empathy. I don't want anyone to die. I don't wish upon anyone to die. But if you're one of those people like Sean Connery, who for years normalized and said it was okay for a man to physically assault a woman if she was annoying you, you're a scumbag. And yes, I'll say that on the air. And this has nothing to do with the way Sean Connery treated me 12 years ago. Was I surprised by it? Was he a jerk? Sure. But it's much more important than if someone swears at me, I don't care, than someone who condones physical violence towards women. And that's exactly what Sean Connery did.
Not a fan of the ladies.
Yeah, he definitely is. So I want to be very clear on that. All right, here's what we're going to do.
I thought he was great in Finding Forrester.
Well, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
He's a great I started off. Nothing could take that away from him. He's just a scumbag.
He was a very good Bond.
He's a scumbag.
He was really good in The Rock.
I'm not refuting him as an actor.
I don't think he's a scumbag. But
really? You don't think what you just heard is horrible?
I don't think Sean Connery is a scumbag.
You don't think what you just heard is horrible?
Brian, have you ever been attacked by a woman before?
That's not what he was talking
Answer
about.
the question.
No.
Exactly.
I haven't.
I have been attacked by a woman, Brian.
That's not what Sean Connery was talking about.
Some women are capable of inflicting damage
JD.
on a man.
JD, we're not talking about self-defense. That's not what Sean Connery was talking about. That's a completely different scenario.
Sean Connery is talking about what's called a bitch slap.
Okay,
that's what Sean Connery is talking about.
You can define it as you want, but if you want to defend those statements, I find that very troubling.
No, you're saying, do I think Sean Connery is a scumbag?
Yes, I do.
What you do is you take one thing somebody does, and then you generalize, and you use that thing to generalize them or label them as somebody over the course of their life, and I don't do that.
Okay, well, is OJ a good man?
I think there's a difference between murdering two people and bitch slapping a woman.
Well, you just said I take one thing.
And again, that's
just one thing,
yeah,
JD.
Yeah, but that's murder, Brian. Now you're trying to equate murder with a bitch slap.
How about someone who physically assaults somebody?
This conversation is not going well.
How about it's going fine for me? You're really embarrassing yourself.
Brian, you just compared murder to a bitch slap.
You just said one thing. So you don't think it defines you when you physically assault a woman?
What you do is you say, first of all, he said, I'm fine with it. He didn't. Is there any video of Sean Connery physically assaulting a woman? No. He's just saying, I'm fine with it. And now you're saying, well, since he said this one thing, he must be a scumbag.
Okay.
And if you defend, or if you don't think he's a scumbag, therefore you're defending that.
Didn't say that.
That's exactly what you said, actually.
Let me be very clear. Anybody who condones what Sean Connery said, anybody thinks it's not a big deal when you normalize physically assaulting a woman, you're wrong and you have issues and you're embarrassing yourself.